Imagine carrying a secret so dark, so devastating, that every day for 3 decades you wake up knowing you ended your best friend's life. Imagine looking into the eyes of their grieving family, attending their memorial service, and pretending to share their pain while knowing the terrible truth. This isn't fiction. This is the shocking true story of a friendship that ended in murder, and a secret that remained buried for 30 years until one woman's conscience could no longer bear the weight of what she had done. In 1980, 17-year-old Seth Jackson was a vibrant, popular teenager living in Sumter, South Carolina. She was known for her infectious laugh, her loyalty to friends, and her dreams of becoming a nurse. Her best friend, Lisa Darlene Holcomb, seemed equally devoted to their friendship. The two girls were inseparable, sharing secrets, dreams, and the typical adventures of teenage life in small-town America. But beneath the surface of their friendship, something sinister was brewing, something that would lead to one of the most disturbing cold cases in South Carolina history. On a warm evening in June 1980, Seth Jackson vanished without a trace. Her family reported her missing immediately, and the community rallied together to search for the beloved teenager. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, with no sign of Seth anywhere. Her disappearance devastated her family and friends, leaving them trapped in an agonizing limbo between hope and despair. Among those who appeared most grief-stricken was Lisa Holcomb, who told investigators she had no idea what might have happened to her best friend. She participated in search efforts, comforted Seth's family, and maintained the facade of a concerned friend, desperately hoping for her companion's safe return. What no one knew at the time was that Lisa Holcomb held the answer to the mystery that haunted an entire community. She knew exactly what had happened to Seth Jackson because she was responsible for her death. According to what would later emerge, the two friends had gotten into an argument that escalated beyond anything either of them could have anticipated. In a moment of rage, Lisa had killed Seth, and in the panic that followed, she made the calculated decision to hide the body and maintain her innocence. For 30 long years, Lisa Holcomb lived with her secret. She moved on with her life, got married, had children, and built what appeared to be a normal existence. She attended family gatherings, celebrated holidays, and went about her daily routines while Seth's family continued to suffer, never knowing what had happened to their daughter. The case went cold, and while Seth's family never stopped hoping for answers, investigators had few leads to pursue. The missing person case remained open, a painful reminder of an unsolved mystery that refused to fade from memory. But secrets, especially ones this profound, have a way of eating away at the human soul. Over the years, the weight of what she had done began to take its toll on Lisa Holcomb. Friends and family members would later recall subtle changes in her behavior, moments of profound sadness that seemed to come from nowhere, and an increasing withdrawal from social situations. She struggled with depression and anxiety, though those around her attributed these issues to various life stresses rather than the dark secret she carried. In 2010, after 3 decades of silence, something inside Lisa Holcomb finally broke. The burden of her secret had become unbearable, and she made the extraordinary decision to confess to what she had done. She contacted law enforcement and, in a detailed statement, admitted to killing Seth Jackson 30 years earlier. She provided information about the location of Seth's remains, details that only someone directly involved in the crime could have known. Investigators were stunned by the confession, and the case that had remained cold for so long suddenly roared back to life. The confession sent shockwaves through the Sumter community. People who had known both girls struggled to reconcile their memories of 2 teenage friends with the horrific reality of what had transpired. Seth's family, after 3 decades of uncertainty and pain, finally received the answers they had desperately sought, though those answers came with their own form of agony. They learned that someone they had trusted, someone they had comforted in their shared grief, had been responsible all along. Law enforcement officials worked to verify Lisa Holcomb's confession, and using the information she provided, they were able to locate Seth Jackson's remains. The discovery brought a bittersweet closure to a case that had haunted investigators and the victim's family for 30 years. Lisa Holcomb was arrested and charged with murder, and the legal proceedings that followed would force a community to confront the devastating consequences of that night in 1980. During the legal process, prosecutors and defense attorneys worked to understand what had driven a teenage girl to commit such an act, and what had enabled her to maintain her silence for so long. Psychological experts examined the case, exploring the mechanisms of denial, compartmentalization, and the psychological toll of carrying such a secret. The case became a study in the complexity of human guilt, the power of conscience, and the question of whether decades-delayed justice serves any meaningful purpose. For Seth Jackson's family, the confession brought a complex mixture of emotions. On one hand, they finally had answers to questions that had tormented them for 3 decades. They could finally lay their daughter to rest properly and gain some measure of closure. On the other hand, they grappled with the betrayal of someone they had considered a friend, someone who had looked them in the eyes for 30 years while hiding the truth about what happened to their beloved Seth. The pain of losing their daughter was compounded by the realization of how long the truth had been deliberately concealed. The case of Lisa Holcomb and Seth Jackson raises profound questions about guilt, redemption, and justice. Can someone who commits a terrible crime as a teenager and then lives with that guilt for 30 years be judged by the same standards as someone who shows no remorse? Does the decision to finally confess demonstrate a conscience that, while delayed, ultimately could not be silenced? These questions don't have easy answers, and they continue to spark debate among legal experts, psychologists, and ethicists. The story serves as a stark reminder that secrets, no matter how deeply buried, have a way of resurfacing. It demonstrates the enduring power of guilt and the human need for truth and closure. For the Jackson family, 30 years of not knowing was finally replaced with the painful knowledge of what had happened, allowing them to grieve properly and honor Seth's memory with the full truth finally revealed. This haunting true story shows us that justice, even when delayed by decades, still matters. It reminds us that the bonds of friendship carry profound responsibilities, and that the choices we make, especially in moments of anger or fear, can reverberate across entire lifetimes. The case of Lisa Holcomb and Seth Jackson will forever stand as a testament to the enduring human need for truth and the psychological impossibility of outrunning our own conscience. If this story moved you, if it made you think about the power of truth and the weight of secrets, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We bring you true crime stories that matter, cases that explore the depths of human nature, and the pursuit of justice no matter how much time has passed. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on this case. Should there be a statute of limitations on justice? Can redemption ever truly be achieved after such a betrayal? Join the conversation, and we'll see you in the next video, where we continue to explore the most compelling true crime stories that reveal profound truths about human nature.